Hello ladies and gentlemen, RPChess here, and today I will show you game 8 between Magnus Carlsen and Ian Nepomniachtchi. This game has been won by Magnus. He leads 5-3, and it's only 6 rounds left, I don't know, I don't believe in Ian anymore. And I showed some commentators, they basically decide the same. The problem for me is that he doesn't get this advantage with white pieces. Yeah, he can get a game, yeah, and for some reason this c4 doesn't bring him. Magnus is going for this some kind of anti-marshals. Ian is going into anti-marshals, and the game is just too easy for him. But I must say he's defends perfectly, and I'm saying that these exchanges and position becomes like a desert, yeah, very quickly. That's a problem. Yeah, it becomes basically too easy to defend. So it's time to plan B, maybe try c4, and Ian tried it. Another issue is Ian's psychology, and he was working on it, obviously. He has like he's criticized for having some kind of glass chin, yeah, so that if he is winning, he's winning. If he took a hit, then it becomes really hard for him to recover. So of course what happened today is you can explain only with psychology, and it was by far one of his weakest games, I think, for many years. It's not like he lost, but how he lost, and it was really quickly, and position became really utterly lost very quickly, and he made some unexpected blunders in the opening. And I must say that I think his seconds maybe didn't explain to him how it's important to make a draw today, yeah, to keep just -1 is I remember Magnus lost to Karyakin, and he won back and kept the title, and Anand won Gelfand right after he lost to Gelfand again. So it's all really just it's normal. He lost a good game, but you cannot lose second in a row in such a manner. So Ian is not the person who is easy to explain, I guess, because he's kind of like this a bit crazy person, yeah, and he has his own he's not like a good guy like Sergey, who is actually his second, yeah. He's more a person with in his moods, yeah. He has to have a good mood, and I like how he looks in this game, in this match, yeah, how that he's confident and he's not shaking all the time, but in this game he definitely lacked some character, some stamina, whatever you call it, and lost quite in one-sided game. Yeah, so let's see it. So Magnus plays e4. Previous game he won with d4, but I think with d4 kind of Ian's game is more ambitious, so he switched to this e4, e5. And I remember a match between Kramnik and Anand, and Anand was winning 3-1 with 2 games left, and Anand went like, and they played all d4. It was semi-Slavs and excellent match, and so on. And Kramnik came back. He actually was late for the start of the round for like 2 minutes, and Anand played d4, and Kramnik's face was priceless at that point. Yeah, that he was preparing definitely for something else. But Carlsen plays this both openings. So the Petrov, knight f6, d4. So this is the new move for this match. So previously he took on e5, and they played this variation, and Ian was very ready. It was a draw, but this time it's a bit different. Takes d5, knight takes. So white has 2 pieces developed and black has 1. Knight d7, knight d2, takes, and bishop d6. So this is the first like moment when Ian had to think just for a little bit, and it's not that easy. I mean, engine is showing this queen e7, yeah, and if you play this, then queens are exchanged and basically they go home, yeah, because it's that draw. If you play bishop e3, then it's queen b4 and it's check. So this move is not the right move, yeah, because you lose the pawn, and king f1 definitely is, I think, in black's favor, yeah. So they would exchange, and it's, I mean, for me it looks easy. I don't know why Ian didn't play this. He played bishop d6, and he castled. So I think white is just a little bit better. And at this point Ian started thinking. He played h5, which is the novelty, so to speak. Yeah, previous players tried castles, queen h5, f5. It looks terrible, but as long as white doesn't have knights, so it's not that critical. They cannot jump here and they cannot jump here. Can play, I think, g6 at some point. Black is worse, but there's only one line, and it's I don't know, it looks drawish. So h5, queen e1, check. Again, queen e7 was the move why you could play here, and I'm not sure why he didn't do that. Bishop e3 looks not the best decision, and if you exchange it, take with the king, check, king here, and for me it's draw. I don't know, it's doesn't look that black is in some kind of trouble. Of course he's behind in development, and maybe if he plays g6 then bishop g5, but it's not that difficult, I think, to draw. But Ian was under impression, yeah, that he should play with black for a longer game, yeah, even though he loses just 1 point, which is one game basically, yeah, and it's not the last game, but he somehow persuaded himself that he has to, you know, play every position there is. King f8 and bishop b4. This is a strong idea which engine showed, which I wouldn't ever played, and it appears that this exchange of bishops is a strong idea, because I think this dark square bishop attacks h2. That's kind of one of the black's trumps, and also king is vulnerable. So that's what happened. Queen e7, and he cannot take the queen because it's illegal. Yeah, engine doesn't let me. So he plays here, queen d2, putting your queen to the color opposite to your bishop's color. And here he played rook h6. Okay, let me try this g6 move. Takes, and engine says that it's f4 here, and king g7. So I think at this point his position wasn't that bad. He lost with one move just like 6-7 moves later, but this was one of the options why he could have played it a bit more careful. Yeah, this rook h6 is probably trying to double the rooks here. c6. So if you play this way, then this pawn is hanging on h5. So you cannot do that. So c6, rook e1, and of course exchanging queens is a draw, but Magnus, even though he would normally play this for a draw, this kind of position he doesn't want to draw, that's for sure. Bishop d7, h3, and h4. This is very committal again. So kind of this pawn can help if it's some sort of perpetual in the endgame, but otherwise you have to keep an eye on this pawn because it's always hanging. Yeah, and it doesn't really do, for me it doesn't do too much, but so c4. Now white opens the game in the center, well, very logical, while this rook here is trapped. If you play queen e6, then queen d2, and we don't have to exchange the queens. So he exchanged, and in this position Ian blundered. Engine suggests king g8. Probably white has some ideas how to continue here, like d5, and I think white has some serious advantage here, but nevertheless it's not completely lost. Yeah, and b5 he played. So after queen a3, king g8, and queen takes a7, yeah, if you take here, then I take your bishop and I'm a pawn up. And so Ian played queen d8. So this pawn on h4 still needs a lot of attention, and if black somehow exchanges it, even if it's like on h7, then still white is winning clearly. Yeah, they are up a pawn, they have better position, and black has no counterplay, and these pawns are terrible. Yeah, they don't do anything, and white can easily create a passed pawn. So this is a huge advantage for white. Rook e4 again. This is like a technique, yeah, what is called technique, that you don't try to continue like starting exchanging everything. Yeah, you will exchange, but first you want to aim this weak pawn. Yeah, and if black proposes queen's exchange, then they will lose the second pawn. So, and Ian went for this hopeless endgame. He was shaking his head. He thought for a while, but he didn't find anything better than this. Just his f7 is vulnerable. These pieces don't coordinate at all, and he can't move anything, and his pawns is. So he went for this queen c4 again. Black's idea is somehow to use this h4 pawn and try to give a lot of checks, but the problem is that queen of white has queen, and it controls this diagonal easily. You cannot exchange it because you are one pawn down, and also these pawns, they're just very weak, very vulnerable to these checks, and so you can play like without 4 pawns easily. Check, he took this, check. And at this point it was, I mean, hopeless for everyone. Ian continued. He thought that maybe I will just play on, maybe have some thinking time. So Magnus took here, he's up 2 pawns. And again, every time queen returns to e5 and just starts pushing this pawn ahead. And he can win this pawn with checks, which is extra annoying. Check, queen d3, proposed by Anand. So now queen defends this pawn, and this pawn is going to go forward. So let's quickly check what happened. Queen c3 was to cover a c1 square, so queen cannot perpetual white. Check. Queen d1. So at this point it's really easy. King can go to h1, and there's no single check. g4. Queen f3. Yeah, if in this position there are different ideas here. Yeah, so if black takes, I've seen this variation. So if you play here, then I win it like this. Have 3 passed pawns, and I win it with the. So you have to go back, check, check with the same idea. So king goes here, and I exchange the queens, and I queen myself. So h3, queen f3. So let's give, I don't know, check here, and queen d3. There should be some exchange variation. Yeah. So probably something. Okay, so this is already a draw. So king takes, yeah, probably. So king takes is a win. Yeah, just king is. You can give a single check to this king, and white has just perfectly set up for win. All right. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.